The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
And welcome to a gorgeous and beautiful day here at the headquarters of technical trading and investing. This is TFNN.com, and hopefully we'll get everything going on here. It is Friday, August 24th, and it is a beautiful day down here with all the discussions of a hurricane coming. I fear not, probably because I've lived here long enough in the mid to late 90s and until about 2004 or 5. I'm back down here again, beautiful country, but also because the weather patterns normally send these wonderful hurricanes out to sea. Kind of vaguely remember the last time I was in a hurricane. I was coming back on my old boss's boat, and we'd taken it down to, I think, Marathon Island. And we were coming back, and we got the boat just buttoned up. I went home, to his house, took a nap, and was on a plane with about 3 hours of the hurricane actually hitting. Maybe 4. It was awful close. Maybe it was the next day. I just remember it hitting down there in Fort Myers, but taking that big bad cruiser back from Marathon to the Fort Myers area. But kind of one of my last big adventures, although I still go lobster fishing with him a lot and his group of merry buddies. Always fun to do some lobster catching. It's a little different than fishing. I actually feel like I'm doing something. But today is, and we honor the invention of the waffle. You can put all kinds of stuff on it. It's a great, great, great thing to have in the morning. It's all of its own little things to hold the syrup and butter and fruits and vegetables on top of it. I don't know if you put vegetables, fruits, I guess. And kind of just to have it a wonderful treat in the morning. This day in 1869, Cornelius Starwalt received the first U.S. patent for a waffle iron. And the rest is tasty history. Well, anyway, waffles are just a delight. I like to have them as often as I can. Of course, I'd be a lot thinner if I didn't. And, Steve, our engineer, says he knows someone that put coleslaw on it. Ugh. I've never liked vinegar. It's always been horrible. And anything that had vinegar, smells of cabbage, anything like that, just gets to me. But what a tasty treat that we have in waffles. Anyway, going to take a quick look at the market. Pretty much what I expected, which was we had very light volume on the pullback. We're getting up to 1410 on the S&P, up about 8.5 points. Of course, we were looking for some volume one way or the other. I'm figuring that we're going to get maybe a push back up into the end of next week, and maybe even sooner. It's kind of hard to know when this market's going to break, but I suspect it's going to break fairly hard. I'm waiting for the whites of their eyes, but with less than 1.6 billion shares as we start the show here on Friday, pretty much telling us that there isn't a lot of energy up, and continually see at least a little more energy down than we see up. But I suspect we'll be lucky to have a 2.5 billion share day. At the current run rate, we're talking about 2.45. You might get a little bit more, but we'll go through the reasons why. But I suspect we're probably going to get back up to 14.18, maybe 14.24 or 5. And we're going to see maybe even 14.30, something like that. And we're going to have a sharp intraday spike. We're going to finally get some volume, and the market's going to roll for us. But I am waiting for the whites of their eyes. We have no positions in the newsletter, waiting for the time to actually pull the trigger. And I suspect we'll be buying options, as it is a fairly decent time to actually be buying them. I would love to see the VIX back in the 13s, and find some stocks with very low volatility to hop on board for options expiration. I suspect we're going to get that. Of course, we're hearing a lot about the hurricane, and for me, why is everybody so down on Isaac? I wish they'd probably not give hurricanes names anymore. I liked Isaac. He was great on the Love Boat. His real name was Ted. I met him a couple of times out in my years working out in California, in Hollywood, and all that. Nice enough guy. Of course, he's a director of a lot of these sitcom shows, or was. I don't know what he's doing now. I met him in the mid-'90s a couple of times, and I think worked on a special effect for one of his movies, a low-budget movie in '98 that kind of came and went without any fanfare. He was born on January 5th, 1948. But Isaac, you will always be my bartender. I will not think of you as a hurricane. Anyway, don't let facts stand in the way. I've seen some really horrible reporting over the last couple of days, and I wanted to bring up examples of it just because it seems like, I don't know, that maybe the profession of being a newspaper reporter has just gone into the crapper. Today, we found out that Lance Armstrong was stripped of all his Tour de France titles. Well, it had nothing to do with the truth. It actually had to do with a U.S. Regulatory body that actually has to do with testing for banned substances in sports. They're actually the French bunch that actually ran the race are in a fight with them, saying that they're not going to do it. Actually, the 8 people underneath him, you'd have to go through 7 other people to get to somebody that hasn't been accused of doping. So apparently it's like the standard thing to do already. I have no idea whether he did or not. Basically, what he's figured out after watching a couple of our baseball players go through and get acquitted, or at least have hung juries, there's no way that you win in court. You are only going to lose. If he starts talking, then they'll probably come after him. As long as he stays quiet, they can't drag him through the mud anymore. So he's probably just willing to go ahead and give up. It's just not worth it. I have no idea that he did anything. Like Roger Clemens, would someone sell you out to, that maybe didn't like you? I think that there's a great indication of that, or possibility of that, but I never know. But one thing I do know was that the news was wrong this morning. He wasn't stripped of his Tour de France wins. He was only stripped of doing things here in the United States. But never let facts stand in the way of any truth. Also, there's a study, another one that passed as news, a University of Colorado analyst, state-by-state factors leading to the Electoral College selection of every U.S. president since 1980 forecast that the 2012 winner will be probably the guy that I like. But I have to know, as someone that even knows a modicum of statistics, that how many races are we actually talking about? We're talking about a handful. Is that sample actually significant? How many elections would we really have to know before this actually makes any sense, or actually is even worth anything? Actually, my guess would probably be about 100 years, maybe more. So 32 years, probably not worth a whole lot, and probably not worth the paper it's printed on. But polls have kind of become a election news source when they can't actually write anything. It's easier just to go out and grab a survey and decide it. But we talk a lot about statistics on this show, and one that does not pass the smell test. Euro popped in the last minute of trading this morning. The European Central Bank was considering establishing yield bonds in a bond buying program. Later, of course, right at the close, they ran the thing up at 11:30 Eastern Time, after which, of course, they came out and said, it's just something we're considering and we haven't done anything. But the markets are so short in Europe that it doesn't take much to run the shorts, which is exactly what everybody wanted to do. Of course, this is their would-be plan that they're going to be talking about in the future, of which they've done nothing to implement, but it would effectively cap borrowing costs for certain Eurozone countries, i.e. give spending limits or a credit card that would only go so high, depending on what your countries can afford. And I suspect that while they will actually say that, very little is going to ever come of it, because you got to get the Germans to sign off, and that's not going to happen. Apple and Samsung had their first court decision in the war of patents. Apple won one, Samsung won two in South Korea. Basically, the Korean courts said both Apple and Samsung both infringed, and neither one of them can sell their products in Korea. I suspect this is the wisdom of Solomon in cutting the baby in half, and I hope the exact same thing happens here in the United States. These people are, both Apple, Samsung, IBM. IBM probably the most egregious of the bunch. Google, Microsoft, basically turned patents from a defensive mechanism into a club to make others submit to whatever they believe. But at the moment, it looks like Samsung has a slightly better position. One, of course, they're fairly innate, have a lot of production facilities in Korea, a little bit of home field advantage. But it's going to be kind of tough to figure out that this doesn't just end up in a lot of rich lawyers and poor shareholders. Salesforce came out last night, is down. Their outlook missed analyst estimates, and its stock fell more than 5% last night. Probably going to do a little bit better today. Let me check on them. Symbol is CRM on them. But they're basically quoting a few things, but the first one is the weakness. Oh, actually, they've come back. They were down to 141 today. I had a high of 149, so actually not doing too bad. Up $2 now. They had a little dip here just before I left, I guess. But continue to see weakness. But a lot of shorts in these, probably on the market pop here, had to come back a little bit today. Let's see what else is going on. Peter Thiel is getting a lot of flack from people that probably should not throw stones. If we're talking about a certain guy that has a TV show that runs around throwing things all the time, and was forced to quit because he almost ran his hedge fund bankrupt twice. Only his wife coming in saved it, giving this guy a lot of grief. There's many reasons to sell, but there's only one to buy. Peter Thiel, of course, was a huge owner of Facebook stock. He decided to get out. He said he was going to get out. He told people he was going to sell. There's nothing new in the news, but now everybody's hopping on him in retro stuff. I would have had a lot more. We'll talk about it when we get back. I would have thought a lot better of Kramer if he would have said that before the IPO.
Kate Stalter's exciting newsletter, Low Priced Leaders, has just launched, and now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial. Every Wednesday afternoon, Kate sends out her weekly newsletter to her subscribers, where she focuses on small cap stocks with market caps under $2 billion, as well as low-priced equities with share prices ranging from $5 to $12. Kate tracks a variety of stocks with a combination of strong technical support and solid fundamentals. Many of the stocks featured will be recent IPOs. These newer issues are often some of the biggest price gainers in the market and provide an excellent opportunity for substantial gains if timed correctly. You can catch Kate Stalter live on Tiger TV with her Small Cap Roundup every Tuesday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and visit TFNN.com right now to get your 2-week free trial to her brand new newsletter, Low Priced Leaders, while locking in the low introductory monthly rate of only $37.50 per month, almost a 50% discount. Act now.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Ken Shreve, Kate Stalter, David White, Larry Pezzamento, Victor Jones, or Carol Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen, live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den, absolutely free, for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Millionaires are made every day. The fact is, living your dreams is possible. Someone, somewhere is going to get rich. My recommendation is, let that be you. Each day, someone is making the decision to better themselves and creating a plan to fulfill their financial dreams. Let that be you. The key to turning dreams into reality is to take massive action. Let that be you. I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of the Money Master Show with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN, and I can help you with your journey to great wealth. I'll show you how to create the ultimate financial edge, a set of tools, insights, and strategies that are part of my daily newsletter service, Mastering Probability. You'll have direct access to me by phone, email, and my private library of trading and investing secrets for 30 days with an unconditional money-back guarantee. I'll take your trading to the next level. Click on my name, Steve Rhodes, on the homepage of TFNN.com and turn your dreams into reality. Mastering Probability, folks. Let that be you.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Anyway, we were talking about a little about Peter Thiel, and the guy's made a lot of money on Wall Street. The only thing I would say is I never give anybody flack on Wall Street if they give a fair warning. And it was in the original IPO documents, in the red herring. He was going to sell, he was going to sell, he was going to sell. He was going to sell as soon as he could. There was no difference on it. I don't know. It seemed to me easy to attack a lot of these people. If you didn't have to buy, you could have read the IPO, and it's always buyer beware. I don't think anybody here was encouraging people to buy Facebook, but there are many reasons to sell. A lot of times you can't tell. For all I know, he wants to invest in the next big thing out there. He, of course, been invested for 8 years or so, whatever it was, or 7 years. But I don't actually put a lot of faith, because a lot of those guys aren't great market timers. They easily spot the next big thing. But I don't put as much when Buffett buys or sells. I don't put a lot into that either, other than the fact that he's such a whale that he drags a lot of people in and out with him. I remember when he bought Bank of America, a year or whatever it was, a year and a half ago. It popped 25% the next day, even though he'd already bought all the shares. So it's, there's these whales out there that have lots of cash. It's great. There are many reasons to sell. i.e. you want to buy something with the money. You don't think it's going up any farther. You got mad at the owner or the CEO of the company and you just want to get your money out. There's only one reason to buy, so I put a lot of weight in that, and that is if you're going to buy, you think the thing's going up. Romney reiterates, he said, would replace Bernanke. He said that again today, and I believe his post and term ends up in January 2014, making it rather unambiguous that he wants to change the course of what the Fed does and what they do. And I don't know, I think we could probably just keep that in the back, but a lot of times politicians don't tell you what they're going to do in advance. This one looks fairly clear if he was to win. I've talked many times about the weakness of China's infrastructure. We find out that they put lead in baby food and lead on paint for dog toys. And in fact, I guess lead is the favorite thing they like to put in when they're not putting in sponge in dog food. They got a real ethics problems over there, and that goes into constructions. I've talked about hotels that have been open less than 5 years that are talking about being destroyed over in China. They had an 8-lane suspension bridge in northeast China last night that collapsed, and it's only 9 months old, and it just no hurricanes, no tremors out there. I can just imagine if they did have a big earthquake, what would happen. I would imagine, are there as many of those I-beams that are supposed to be in those high-rises as are supposed to be? Maybe they're half the thickness that they were supposed to be. A lot of payoffs, a lot of graft, a lot of that kind of stuff going on, but I don't think this is going to be an isolated incident as we look at China's future. Of course, we're seeing lots of signs in China that their growth is probably also a lie. They say right now that they're going at about 8%. A year ago that was 20%, but we find out just today that even the reporting of a lot of their sales has been, over the last couple of months, has been a lie. That may be a whole lot less than the 8% that they're talking about. They've been asked, like new car sales, just to quit reporting it. So I guess they can't. The drop in sales is so big they can't even lie about it anymore. Oop. The title here is wrong, but the calendar is right. We're looking at August, just to let everybody know what's going on. Probably not a big thing in the market, but we do have the Republican National Convention down here, August 27th through the 30th. They are going to go ahead and get the business out of the way on, I think it's on Monday night. Or Tuesday night before the hurricanes. The weather's probably going to get bad down here somewhere around late Sunday night. I don't expect any hurricane to come in, but we're going to get lots of rain bands. Going to drown those protesters, which no problem with me. Let's go ahead and wet on them a little bit. The big thing is probably going to be next Friday, and that's Bernanke gives his annual speech in Jackson Hole. I'm not exactly sure what time that's going to be, but I think it's in the morning sometime around Eastern time in about noon Eastern time. So we'll get into that. But we've got several things going on between now and September 12th and 13th. We're going to go through that calendar. Then we're going to get into some stocks.
Tom O'Brien's daily trading newsletter, Market Insights, has delivered powerful results for subscribers, and now is the perfect time to try it out for 2 weeks absolutely free. We're so confident in the value Tom provides his subscribers in his daily newsletter that through Labor Day weekend only, when you sign up for a 2-week free trial to Market Insights, we'll send you a free copy of Tom's best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, your ultimate trading mastery system, completely free of charge. Will even cover the shipping cost. Cancel at any time during your 2-week free trial to Market Insights and pay nothing, and keep Tom's free book as a gift from us. This offer is only valid for new subscribers. We've only extended this offer once before, and it will only be active for a short period of 2 weeks. So act now to take advantage of this great offer and be ready to capitalize on a more active, more volatile market once traders return from their August vacations. All the details are on the front page of TFNN.com. Sign up for your free trial to get your free copy of Tom's best-selling book today. If you're an investor looking for a great weekly investment newsletter, then now is the perfect time to try out Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Every Tuesday, Ken breaks down multiple sectors in his weekly newsletter, Ultimate Growth Stocks, with a full in-depth report including specific trading recommendations within his model portfolio, charts, sector analysis, upcoming economic data, along with intra-week trading updates on newsletter positions whenever the market dictates. Right now, you can receive a full month, that's 30 days, to evaluate Ken's newsletter free of charge to see if it fits your trading plan. At less than $75 per month, Ken provides you with his expert trading advice that can pay for itself in no time. Take advantage of this great offer by signing up for a 30-day free trial to Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks today. Don't let this offer pass you by. Visit the front page of TFNN.com and sign up now.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Crocodile Gold. For more information, just click the Crocodile Gold banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, we've got rather a flattish market, not a lot to yell or scream about here. I'm going to actually update the volume here just to see if we got anything. 1.65 billion shares, so pretty quiet on the New York's consolidated tape. Again, 2.4 billion shares, something like that. And that would bring us in, I think, we've got a good chance of coming in with the weakest volume day of the year again. So we continue to see light volume up in these markets. Just love to see this VIX pull back down into 13s over the next week or something and get a good chance to put on some longer October positions and options. I think they're getting very close to looking sweet. We were looking at the calendar. Of course, we've got the big thing's probably going to be Bernanke's speech in Jackson Hole next Friday. Democratic National Convention starts the 4th through the 6th of September. The European Central Bank Governing Council meets. That's on September 5th. The big one's probably going to be the monthly job reports for August. It's released the 7th. September 12th is probably going to be the day of infamy, and the German court is going to rule on whether or not the EU bailout fund is against the Constitution of the Federation of Germany. I think that's what they call it. At the same time, the Federal Reserve is going to have a two-day Fed meeting, the 12th and the 13th. So I suspect that's going going to start the beginning of September and the character of what we're going to see all the way through the election cycle, which is probably going to take us actually through Thanksgiving. I imagine whatever starts happening, the trend will be your friend for those September, October, November dates. FOMC meeting, they're pretty much on hold until after the election. They may say something, but they can't do anything. So like I said, I think we're probably going to see maybe a high, probably something in the realm of next Friday. One more test of what we had. The volume's going to be extremely light, and we're going to see a market, I think, pull back to the 1285 level in the S&P over time. It may take 3 months to get there, so I'm not thinking this is going to happen all in one day, but we could have weakness all through the fall up to the election. Was kind of an interesting article out here that I do agree on, and that is the presidential election will probably be over in actuality about the third week of September. A lot of factual data that people make their decisions starting just about the end of August and into the third week. Only about a percent and a half will actually ever change who they're going to vote for before the election without some kind of monumental event in politics. So I think we're probably going to know fairly early on who's going to win and what the ramifications of that's going to be. But well, I think we'll probably know a lot of that by the 12th of September, and that trend will set probably through Thanksgiving weekend. Windows 8 has a feature that they call Smart Screen, and Windows 8 is configured with this on by default. But it will, every time you actually check for an update, will send that information to Microsoft about every app you have downloaded and installed. You will be able to turn this off. The problem is that, of course, any data that you send to another company, you've given up your right to privacy on. A lot of people are very upset about this as a quote-quote feature, and one of the few downsides that people have had. But I've told you about it now, and if you do get Windows 8, you'll need to learn how to turn it off and not have to worry about it. Of course, once you give data to any other company, you really have lost your expectation of privacy, and courts have decided you don't even need really need a warrant to go after a lot of that data, because if you've given it to somebody, apparently it's not private. No expectation of privacy. Saw another article that was kind of interesting. It kind of goes across political gaps. Also, a gentleman that was a comedian wanted to get some national attention for his bookings. So in June, he bought a small city's worth of Twitter followers for $424. Companies are setting up false Twitter accounts to follow people and make them look like they're more important. Actually, he had about 700 and went to 220,000 in a matter of a couple of days. Well, it got the required or desired effect, and he got a lot of, well, you got 220,000 followers. Of course, they were all false and didn't do anything. We've seen this in political. I think there's an article out today that half of some of our candidates' Twitter followers are nothing but ghosts. And this goes back, if you haven't been in the market long enough, to what was called click fraud. In those days, you used to hire a lot of Chinese people to sit there and click on all kinds of buttons to make people believe that you had all kinds of people actually looking at your website, and you were charging other people advertising fees based on those clicks. It was all a lot of fraud. At that time, it was called click fraud because that's all you did. Now it's a little different. It's companies trying to make believe that their products are a lot stronger, politicians trying to make people think that a lot more people are following them. It's all fraud, whether it's click fraud or done by politicians or, in this case, a small, almost unknown comedian. But for $424, he got bookings across the entire summer. So I guess hats off to him. A little less worried about a comedian perpetrating fraud than politicians. It's easy to get down that slippery slope. Anyway, we're going to look at some charts here fairly quick, get into it before we start our weekend. But it will be interesting nonetheless. You can give me a call at 877-927-6648. We'll be more than glad to talk about your particular stock. We're going to try to get into some of the charts. And frankly, right now, there aren't a lot of charts giving signals. One of the reasons I was hoping that we would get one more bounce and think that we would find a few more of these stocks topping out in their patterns. I wanted to get to one. Maybe I can get to it here before the next break. But we'll still got a few of these. I know someone asked about airlines, and I continue to think why I would actually even think about investing in them. I forgot who called about that. But I looked at them again. I just hard for me to believe that investing in an airline would ever be anything we're interested in. One of the few companies out here making a bottom. We're probably going to look at a few other sides to the market. A lot of these stocks have been very, very weak. Adtran, which is a design, manufacturers, and markets services communication network solutions. We've seen these absolutely just kind of devastated over the last probably 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. One that may actually be making a low out here. Adtran's symbol is ADTN. One of the few things is a high volume push down and then sideways movements with a test of the lows. The one thing we did see or are seeing out here is fairly light volume into some of these, and I suspect, like Adtran, not one I really want to go long, but one I think sets up a pattern that we may be seeing over the next few days, and that is one more pull back up into the gaps where these things came down. They are consolidating, they are going sideways, but we don't have any kind of sign of strength yet in these markets for these stocks. But could it get back up on a short squeeze, maybe in the news next Friday back to 23 or 24 bucks? It could, but most of these are continuing to see huge volume down on gaps. We saw it in CMG. We've seen it in companies like, was it Priceline? I know CMG was PCLM, PC, Priceline, PCLA. Hang on just a second here. Price, PCLM, Priceline. Yeah, Priceline. A lot of these companies taking huge paths down and coming back and starting to fill these gaps now. I suspect that maybe they can get in and fill maybe half those gaps. I'd love them to start doing that, setting up ABC downs if we are planning on going that. Adobe ADBE was another one that came out last night. I had actually tried to short this a few times, and basically got out some pretty minor moves. This last move had been rather suspect. And especially when you look at these bottom moves where you don't have any sign of strength off the bottoms. That's the ones I'm worried about the most. In fact, the big bounce off this bottom was nothing more than a lot of people with the ability to push a stock up and try to get out of it. On 8.3, they popped up and only had about 3.6 million shares. Today, we're coming back down into that range on 7 million shares already. I suspect with what they're talking about, which is forecasts into the future of declining revenues on this one, you can't just lose a lot of your flagship products and try to make it up with things like editors for websites. Which actually they've been doing fairly decent with, but it certainly doesn't replace the kind of earnings that they've had in the past. Eventually this was going to catch up with them, and it kind of took a nice little bath today. But I'm thinking a lot of these will see these weak moves up. Maybe even fill a little bit of them hopefully next week, and we get yet another shot at them. we've seen some highs being tested. Fusion IO, which is, I think it's been a IPO now for about a year. It's gotten to its previous high. FIO is the symbol on that. Been kind of going sideways here for a few days. One that actually did have a huge short squeeze on volume, so a little bit better than some of the other ones that never made it. But I suspect this is another one that might find just a little higher price in the next week and then start moving back down in to fill that nice big gap. What we saw is the April 26th high, $29 even at 5.5 million shares. We get into those last few days as it's trying to get into that high, 3.3 million shares, 3.5 million shares, 2.5 million shares, 1.4 million shares, and we're at about a little over a million shares so far today. We're really just not seeing a lot of active moving. A lot of people will buy these things and push them all the way up to the previous high. But it's a little of, I'll show you yours if you'll show me mine. And when they get to those previous highs, there just hasn't been much of an impetus. Generally, you get, or the way it's worked out is we get a lot of short sellers on a stock. And if they can show some kind of earnings, they normally get blown out, and you get some kind of decent gap, which is exactly what happened on Fusion IO. They caught a lot of people on the wrong side of a market for a very short amount of time, but the earnings weren't all that good as I remember them. Anyway, I want to keep an eye on that. Let's see what else we have out here. Mentor Graphics is another one. This company's, the perpetual trading church of the trading range. This one is one that's very suspect. MENT is that not expensive enough for me to actually go short, but I'm seeing exactly what you don't want to see out here, and that's a breakout on light volume. The February 28th high, $15.76, 2.4 million shares. As we go through that, we've had under a million shares, so half the volume. We finally get the breakout today, and certainly going to probably close with less than a million shares here yet today. When we look at the last two big spikes in this thing at over a million shares, at least on May 1st, and the last major reversal on February 28th, that we're coming in this with less than half the volume, rather interesting. I also suspect that we've had a lot of these companies that have been going up on energy costs. Power One was one. I think I mentioned this. It had one thing I don't like in it, which is these high volume lows that have not been retested. Not a big expensive stock, PWER, but a test of the last major high at $6.08 had 7.7 million shares. We've got into that last day up 14 cents higher than that at its zenith at 1.8 million shares. So what, fourth, fifth, something like that of the volume. We're seeing a lot of these stocks be very, very light as they get back up here. And like I said, as long as you don't hang these things through earnings and get on the wrong side of them, most of the time they are just petering out on very light volume. Anyway, give me a call, 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. And we've got a few minutes left. Let's discuss your stock.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Time is the great equalizer of all mankind. Time doesn't care about winners or losers, who succeeds or fails. Time only cares that you played the game. Question: are you playing the money game? Is your money working as hard for you as you are for it? I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, a daily trading and investment newsletter service, and we're celebrating our 1-year anniversary. In year 1, we generated a 30% profit. Plus, I provided 26 hours of live coaching to my clients. My daily newsletter service is available by 8 a.m. each day and covers the stock, futures, currency, and commodity markets, along with all the current patterns that you can trade. Each newsletter is packed with education, and it's yours for as little as $3 per day. And for the next 30 days, you can try it risk-free. Click on my name, Steve Rhodes, on the homepage of TFNN.com and begin your journey to great wealth today. If you're waiting for a better tomorrow, remember this: today's tomorrow will soon be yesterday, and your clock is ticking. Mastering Probability. Now is your time.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
As we come back, we're going to look at a couple of stocks here in the last few minutes. One is Bank of America. I did bring that up just because we're going through, I think, about the 1-year anniversary of Buffett. He bought it, let's see, where was that? Yeah, I think he bought it down around the $6 range or something. Can't remember now. But what we are seeing in that is a good opportunity to see this thing making its way back down to $5, possibly, especially if the markets turn here. It's made a nice, decent-sized ABC, fairly symmetrical in this market. Let me see here if I can get a little better look at it here for you. But you know, when you got $10 down to $7.62, back up to $8.40, makes just a hair under a 50% retracement here. That puts our target right back down to $5.02 on just a 1-to-1. I would not be surprised if we see that one of the weaker banks out here, but I really just don't like, if you really look at the volume from this last low at $6.72, you've had about 1 day of up volume that was significant, maybe a couple of them, but not much in the way of a candle together with a up day in volume, mostly market driven, not individual stock driven. But this thing's been kind of meandering sideways for a while, but we surely don't see much. I'd say that if we get one more test of this $8.40 level and you see light volume, we could have a pretty good ABC setting up in BAC. Someone brought up Rubin Networks, A-Run, another one of these companies with high short interest. Been short, a lot of hedge funds hopping on this thing for a while. Had some fairly good indications that there was some decent support down around the $12 level, but still needs to test it on lighter volume. I can't really recommend buying this thing, but I can say that on earnings it did have a nice little blow off top, and just a lot of these stocks like this, very high short volume and can pop up for a day or two, but generally don't go much higher than the first day move as shorts continue to cover and go sideways on it. I wanted to see if there was anything else here I wanted to look at. Power. Yeah, NiceWorks is one. And let me see, take a look at this thing. This one's kind of pulled back, and I suspect if we do find some kind of bottom in the market, this is one I'm actually thinking about looking at long. Symbol is NI. It's got a nice high volume low down here on April 12th, $23.59, 6.5 million shares. We need to get back down just a little lower. It's already testing today this for $24.03 low on 5.5 million shares, but very light volume as we've come back into these lows. That we got about 1 million shares on today, as it did go lower, gives us fairly decent support at both 24 and then back into the $23.50 level. So I'm going to look all that at that. But if we are wrong, energy was a little lighter on this last leg back down, so we still kind of like it, but going to be neat. Anyway, let's see how much time I've got, about 30 seconds. So, well, I guess not a whole lot more than do that. Be kind to Isaac. I like him. Don't demean his name as a horrible hurricane. Hopefully it just goes up and becomes nothing. We can remember the Isaac we all know and love from the Love Boat. Maybe you could make me a grasshopper or a Shirley Temple. Don't know. You all have a great and safe weekend. We will see you from Omaha Beach. Actually, Monday afternoon. We'll see how all this goes. Have a great weekend.